Hi, this is Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. I'm here today with Deanna Carr with a Mystical Moonlight. Hey, Deanna, how are you?
I'm doing good today. How are you doing?
Awesome, awesome. Today's Q&A is going to be some follow-up from a couple months ago. We had done some
Okay.
interesting videos about Abraham Lincoln, vampire
Mm,
slayer, right?
yeah.
Go back and watch
Okay.
those. They're insanely interesting, right? I still
Yes,
can't
they
get
are.
enough of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So here's the re some questions someone sent me. Was Abraham Lincoln's mother raped by a member of the cabal?
Kind of a random question.
Random, I know.
Yeah, she was.
Wow. Did it produce Abraham?
Yes.
Is that how he got to have his intelligence and abilities?
Yes, it is. So
Okay.
they were given through the mixture
Hmm.
of the cabal energy. Let's say that,
Was
if
that
that makes
kind of
sense.
a planned thing?
It's weird. I'm getting yes and no. So I'm getting that it was planned in the aspect of they knew if they did it, it would produce Abraham Lincoln. Um, but I don't think that they planned what was going to happen next, as in becoming the Slayer. And that sounds really bad, the Vampire Slayer. That sounds
Okay.
better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that they had the plan to create him because they thought that he could have the powers and the energy to be the president and go along their routes for what they wanted. But little did they know that he had his own brain and he didn't want to do that.
Okay. So they kind of were calculating now they were going to make him president anyway,
Mhm.
but they wanted him to be a dark president, and he turned out to
Yes.
be opposite of that, which is amazing.
Yes.
Did his family know about this? Anyone in his family? Like, did he know?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
It was well hidden, let's say.
Okay. And we've said that we know he's mixed race. All right.
Hmm.
So was his parents, his mom and his dad,
Hmm.
white or were they black?
Well, they're mixed.
They were mixed.
So
Okay.
what one was black, but they were mixed enough that they didn't come off as black at the time. So that's why they were able to get through stuff a little bit easier. So
Okay.
you got to think about the time frame.
Yeah.
Most relationships were really not seen to be healthy if you were in a mixed relationship.
Right. Right.
Um, he was, he did get a darker complexion, but his dad was actually black.
Okay. Wow. Interesting.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
Stuff we're not told. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
are there any other famous vampire slayers that we might know of beside him?
He's probably the most famous. I'm getting that there's a poet that was a vampire slayer. I don't know the name. He's pretty famous even to the day. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Would it
I'm
be
not getting a
Edgar
name.
Allan Poe?
That's what I was thinking, but he wasn't a vampire slayer. He was into something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I read the book. After
Hmm.
we did these videos, I read the book, and he was prominent in both books. So I thought that
Yeah,
was interesting.
I don't know if he was a I don't know if he was a vampire. I like that was the first name that came into my
Yeah.
mind,
Yeah.
but I don't feel like he was a vampire slayer. I feel like he might have been more on the informative side if he was anything. Like he wasn't actually going out and doing anything. So
Okay.
if you classified him as anything, it would be the informative.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, if it comes to you, just shout it out.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Why is New Orleans a prime? place for the vampires to live. Like we see that in the movies, but it's also true in real life, although they are.
Oh, yeah, they're very prominent there. Yeah, there's a multiple reasons. So first off, we got to talk about the energy in the area, energy in the space. So it is on the darker side, right? There's a lot of killings and stuff like that. Then we have to talk about, the spiritual side after death. We don't really talk about, the graves where people are buried, the bones, the energy the bones holds, and so that gets very complex, and they have a weird system for their burials. If you just look into it, it's very odd. It's not like you go to a graveyard. They're built up and it's actually broken into a lot, and then they do have sacrificial stuff going on there.
Wow.
So just the energy in itself is very off. You do have some very powerful families there too. So not only in the aspect of people who started families there and grew and stayed there forever
Yeah.
and keep going. So they've grown their energy potently in that space in itself. Then you have the voodoo, which we all know is very powerful and potent. I don't recommend people doing it, but there are voodoo practitioners in New Orleans. And that's another reason we have a lot of stuff going on there, because it is just a hot spot. It's very easy to bring up this negative energy. It's very easy to connect in that space. It's also a spot where the energetic fields in the earth connect. So it is a power point, a power center. So that also amplifies. So there's multiple reasons. And then it's one of those spots where people really got into like that witchcraft and everything. Now, witchcraft is not bad if done correctly. Witchcraft is good. A lot of us do use witchcraft in our everyday practices. We just don't consider it that. But they consider a lot to be bad in witchcraft in that area. So a lot of killings happens during that time frame. Same thing if we talk about Salem. These are both hot spots for spiritual activity, but because of the negativity, because of the killing, they have started to grow into more of these negative
Right.
timelines, with the slaughtering, with the hanging, with the burning, and all that.
Right, right. So we know that New Orleans had, there were pirates that landed there. There was a lot of
Hmm.
slave trades that were going on
Hmm.
there. A lot of nefarious stuff. It was,
Yes.
yeah, it was like anything went way back when. I
Hmm.
assume still, but all right. Are there other places in the US or around the world that are like more prone to having the vampires there? And
Well, okay, so that one is one of the biggest because of the travel, because the energy. There are a few other spots that are actually places we would not think about,
yeah,
and that is like Montana.
Montana.
So there's actually hot spots in country, or not countries, in states that we don't really think about,
Yeah,
because they're able to keep it low key. They're able to, draw people in easily. And, it's easier to say like a bear attack happens versus somebody got killed on the street.
right.
So there are states that it's happening in constantly. We just don't think about it as being a vampire attack. They're coming off usually as bear attacks. Bear attacks usually aren't as prominent as we think they are. So if you look into those, those are the main areas that it's happening.
Interesting because Florida has now instituted a statewide bear hunt and for like something like 6 weeks to kill the bears, but yet there haven't been a lot of bear attacks. But it just seems
There's
odd.
it is very odd. Okay, so I'm in Florida, obviously, but where we're from, if you go to Orlando, there's actually bears, like they just walk around the neighborhood. Most of them are like, they know, one's called Tripod. It's a three-legged bear that just walks around. And people, like comedians joke about it all the time. Like people know this bear.
Yeah,
So it's not too common for bears to attack. Like you actually see them more than you think. And honestly, being down here, it was weird because we saw a bear crossing sign. We're like, that must be a mistake. It was very weird, but there
Yeah.
are bears down here.
Yeah.
I think the problem is for Florida in itself is they are taking away space for the bears.
Yeah.
For this manhunt, they are using it as a way to get out that, you know, I don't know how to say this, a way to tell the public that we have a problem, but like you said, it's not really the problem of the bears. They are not vicious. Like I haven't heard of anybody getting attacked by
Right.
them.
Right.
But like I said, it's Orlando. There's a lot of dark energy here too. People
Definitely.
just don't think about it because we talk about Disney. Now, Disney on itself is a whole different topic, and that's very dark. But the way people perceive it is very happy and light and joy, right?
Right.
So we don't think about the area in itself. Most people that live in Florida don't actually want to go to Orlando. It's horrible going to Orlando. And
Sure.
especially on an energetic level, you're just
Yeah.
like, please keep out,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Definitely dark. So,
Mhm.
so Montana is another big spot. You said Salem. Any other spots around the country or world?
Another spot would be Utah.
Utah.
Yeah. A big spot, if we're talking about worldwide, is France.
Yeah. Paris.
France, yeah,
Hmm.
huge spot.
Yeah.
So they have a huge nightlife. So here's my way of telling people how to find spots that vampires are usually
Yeah.
going to stay at or
Yeah.
be very prominent in. If you look at places that thrive on nightlife, so if they are promoting a lot of after hour activities, if they're promoting more stuff in the night versus the day,
Mhm.
that is a key flag saying vampire here. And most people are like, well, what does that mean? Most vampires are going to be more prominent at night. Now, they're not going to burn off like they used to in the sun,
Right.
but they are more of a night species.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Anything else to add to this?
I
Okay.
don't know.
I just
And
want to, yeah,
don't be around them.
yeah, yeah.
Honestly,
Okay.
there are some good vampires. I'm not gonna say the whole species is bad,
Yeah.
but for the most part, vampires when once they switch over, they have a hard time reconnecting to that
Right.
emotional state.
Right.
So for them to take somebody's life, for them to suck blood, it's not an issue to them because are more on the animalistic side and they don't have that fear. They have that idea of, I need this to survive, because they do need blood to survive. They don't need as much as they think they do, but you're going against a being that's going to be stronger, rougher, and is more powerful than us
Mhm.
basic humans.
Okay. King Smarty had told us maybe 2 months ago that basically the bad ones and the good ones had come to him like all at the same time, and the good ones were helping to take out the bad ones, we'll say. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
usually when you see so usually when you see the bad ones coming for help or pairing up with the good ones, that means the good ones are close to winning the battle or the war
Mhm.
because they know that they are losing. They don't know what other options they have. The only problem with this is, like I said, they're doing it because they're losing. So once they feel like they're back on solid grounds, they're probably going to keep going.
Right,
So for those ones, you definitely would have to keep a closer eye on
right.
because they could easily just switch back because, yeah, we're good now. Let's get
Yep,
going.
yep, got it. Okay. All right,
Mhm.
switch of question. I was talking with somebody a while ago, and she said that werewolves were here to protect the Native Americans.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so can you tell us a little, can you expand on that?
Okay. Well, very complex, actually,
Okay.
as most of these subjects are.
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually love werewolves. I love to read about them. They're so exciting. When we talk about werewolves, they do have the ability to switch figures, but we mostly know them as wolves. So if you look into cultures that celebrate wolves often, they are usually a fan of werewolves. They're not going to
Um,
usually put werewolves on their imagery because they do have more abilities than a basic wolf. So if you see somebody, promoting the wolf, it's a big thing. That is a key sign that culture honors them
Mhm.
and that it is a big werewolves are actually a part of their culture. Now, werewolves have multiple abilities and each one has a little more power than the other. But when we talk about Native Americans actually have a more potent purpose for being on this planet because they are one of the origins for this planet. And that gets into another complex topic. But if you think about how, Christopher Columbus came over and took America away from them, and then they went on the trail and all that. Before that, they were here by themselves, had the land. They had to not only work with the land in itself, but the darker beings that already lived here. Okay. We talked about skinwalkers already. We talked about those negative dark energies that you should not deal with because they are beyond us. Native Americans were actually given a lot of tools because they're one of the origins to deal with these beings. Werewolves are one of those tools. They have higher abilities. They're able to actually demolish and conquer these demons. But by pushing out the Native Americans, we actually pushed out the werewolves too, because they don't trust us. One, because we would probably, hang them in a museum if we felt like it. There's a lot of distrust because of actions we've taken. So for us regular people, we are not going to see them on a normal day. But the Native Americans still work with them. There are still some werewolves to be found on this earth. And I will say this is also another reason we see a lot of these negative things starting to rise up because there isn't something to contain it. If you watch scary movies, you see how they take these containers and then all of a sudden a curse is unlocked and nobody knows how to put it back in. They had these abilities to deal with this on multiple levels. So werewolves were definitely a big part of how to contain these more demonic spirits, whether it's skinwalkers.
Okay. Okay. And so because we've basically decimated the Native Americans, there's less werewolves to contain the bad, we'll call them beings or energies.
Yes.
Now, would werewolves be harmful to an average person? Bebopping
If they
around.
wanted to, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
I mean, they can pretty much transform, and then you talk about, the levels to it. Some can do a half mixture, and then we talk about oh, what's it called? It's not a werewolf. It like totally escaped my head, where they're basically a standing werewolf.
Dog man is what they're calling them.
No, it's not
I
Dogman.
don't like that.
There's another actual terminology for them. I'm gonna forget for a few minutes,
Not the
but
Bigfoot. Not
it's
not
not it's not a Bigfoot. It's literally a mixture of dog and werewolf.
okay.
It's gonna come to me at random point.
Cool.
But what happens is there are a lichen. There we go. A lichen is considered the next level to a werewolf. So
All
they
right.
are the werewolf standing up in position, but they do have multiple powers on, let's say, slaying the bad guys, the bad energies, and that kind of thing.
Okay. Interesting.
Sorry, I feel like I went off on a tangent.
No, 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 no. So we're just trying to follow up on some of these random questions. All right, I'm
Yeah.
going to add in my own random question. Okay, I had a
Okay.
visit on, I think it was August 17th, so it was just a few weeks ago. So
Hmm.
I'm reading a book and it's like, say, 10, 11 at night, and I'm right near my window and I hear something scratching on the glass.
Hmm.
Scratching. All right, so I'm like, come on now. I know there's something out there, right? So I
Yeah.
ignored it and I sent it energy, like go away multiple times. Scratch,
Hmm.
scratch, scratch. What I wasn't giving it attention. So then something, it started kicking, dropping stuff and kicking it all over the little porch right outside. And now I have a table and chair set and three heavy plants
Yeah.
out there. It wasn't that. It was dropping something and kicking it and scuffing it around the deck so that I would notice it, which of course I did. And I was like, go away, right? So I finally got up, turned on the light, nothing was there. Well, the sounds continued. I finally put the book down and did some work and sent it on its way, right? I go to bed, and a couple hours later, Now my bedroom is on the second floor and there's nothing below it. All right. I hear pounding on the wall right outside my window. Loud pounding. Obviously, it wakes me up. And the weird thing is, I got happy because I laughed. I said, they're trying to wake me up and get me all riled up, and it's not working. It was really a weird feeling because I wasn't like, oh
Yeah.
my God, there's something out there, right? And so
Yeah.
I smiled and I said, screw it, I'm going to just go back to bed. And then upstairs, it started stomping really hard on the floor. And then I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. So I handled it. But what was that creature?
My big question to you, because I have an idea,
Uh-huh.
is did you, when it first started,
Yeah.
did you get any sensation of fear? Did you have any sensation of
Uh,
this is
Probably a
bad?
little tinge of it at first because I'm like, oh, because I've had things all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe a
Yeah.
little bit, but after a while, I was like, just go away. Like it's
Yeah.
dark out, and I don't want to have to deal with this right now, you know?
Yeah. And none of it was inside.
No.
I think we all know what this was.
Was it a goblin?
No, it was a vampire.
Vampire.
Because anything else would have just come in and started, like if you had, like you were in the kitchen and it was in the living room and dropping stuff, that's one thing. But from the sounds of it, it was always outside.
It was outside. Yeah.
It was never in your personal space.
Yeah.
And there's only a few creatures that attains to, and vampires are being the most potent one.
Oh, wow. That
Mhm.
didn't even enter my mind. I thought it was a goblin. I did because I've had.
No, I don't. Goblins, goblins are interesting creatures, but they wouldn't be banging like that. They would just start taking your stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Like they would try to hide it,
Yeah.
and they're not like fairies. They won't give it back. They will take it and it will just be gone.
I,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I had a knowing that it wanted me to be afraid. It wanted me to like look out and like, oh my God, And I didn't
yeah,
do any of that. And I had a weird happy feeling when it was really trying so hard to get my attention.
yeah. Because you know that they can't get in, or would have done it by now, right? Like, okay, you keep making
Yeah.
noise, like go away. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're bothering me, but like if you were actually gonna do something, you would have done it,
Ah,
right?
interesting. I did not even expect that answer, to be
Yeah.
honest, but
Yeah. And I
fair.
will say this is not the first time. It was it the last time you were over, you said that you heard tapping on the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I take notice of that stuff now. Years ago, I would have blown it off,
Mhm.
but now I take notice because, it's quite frequent. So,
Yeah. The toothbrush was a big one. The toothbrush going off.
yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the story is I have an electric toothbrush and I wake up one night. This is probably like 6 months ago, and the
Hmm.
toothbrush is going on and it's railing against the counter. Um, and so I got up and I pressed the button to stop it and I put it in the little cup holder and I go back to sleep. And it happened like 3 or 4 times. And I finally took the toothbrush, wrapped it in a towel, and put it across the house into the laundry room. And it finally
Hmm.
stopped. But I've had in my other apartment, I have one of those mirrors that lights up. And one night I woke up and I flipped over and the light in my bathroom is on from that mirror. Okay, and I go like boing, like why the
Yeah.
hell is the light on?
Yeah.
It didn't go off for like a long time. So I think I might have told this story. This is really ridiculous.
Yeah.
I calmed myself down and I got a pillow to put in front of me. Okay.
Yeah.
And I went in the bathroom and then it turned off. But I was told that it was the same being both of those times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting, huh?
But see, there's a difference is you had sorry, gotta move. My butt's
Yeah.
falling asleep.
Yeah.
Um, you had experiences where they they would just do it. They were already bothering you. They were in your space
Yeah,
as is, not that they're harming you,
yeah,
but so comparing it to the one that's banging outside your door, it's not actually in your space and it can't get in your space.
yeah. Interesting. Okay, here's
Yeah.
another story I just had about 3 weeks ago. I
Mhm.
came out and all the windows and the skylight was open on my car. And I would never leave it like that.
Yeah.
And I know there's a button on your thing. If you press it, that'll happen. But I stood around the car and looked at it for a long time. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, nothing I can do, right?
Yeah.
But I was very
That's a big one.
careful. What's that?
Yeah, it's crazy when they have that
Yeah.
potent ability to transform something. So
Yeah,
it's moving it.
yeah, not a good feeling. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, that vampire was wanting my attention. I gotta say it was a bad one.
I mean, like I said, there are good ones, but anyone that's coming to you like that, I would say probably don't let them in.
Yeah,
Yeah, just in case,
exactly.
especially the after hours,
Yeah,
have some common courtesy for
yeah,
us
yeah,
humans. You
yeah.
know?
Because it was dark out and it was like, okay, get out of here. I
Yeah,
knew I was hypersensitive to it, but
yeah,
I was reading my book and I was like, I'm not putting this book down and getting up.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Like I'm gonna keep doing my thing. You're an uninvited guest.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is crazy. They have picked up. If you Most people have noticed the attacks and all that have picked up. They've gotten more intense because, like I said previously, that when they know they're on that losing end, they're
Yeah.
gonna do what they can to try and change course.
Yeah. Exactly. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I feel like we're at a good stopping point for this. So I'm just trying to tidy up all the Q&A before we start going
Yeah.
forward on other subjects. So
Yes.
thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Of
All
course.
right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.